So, hello everyone, and welcome to the Indie Author Live Show. I'm your host, MG Hunt, and today I have with me an extremely talented fantasy author and someone whose work I deeply admire. I'd like to introduce SK Stapar.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today, Sanja, and I can't wait to get into your writing process and discussions around the Midnight Gate universe because there is a lot to get into. Not only have you released your debut novel in February this year, but recently you have released a novella.
Yes, that's
Yes.
right.
What did inspire you to release your novella, The Moon Gate, straight to the public?
Yeah, so it was always the plan to release a novella that was free, a free ebook version for newsletter subscribers as a way for people to get a little taste of what my writing feels like and sounds like. So, yeah, that was the main reason is that I just wanted to be like, hey, if you like this and it's free, then you might like what's coming next. And the order was a little bit mixed up. I initially did want to release it before Midnight Gate came out, but it was a bit of yeah, just a pretty full-on time trying to release, yeah, one book to start with, to self-publish that. So Moongate got put on the back burner for a little while. And as soon as I finished Midnight Gate, I wanted to get straight into writing book two while all the ideas were still really fresh and that it's not a spoiler, but Midnight Gate ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. So I had a lot of
Yes.
people saying, when is the next one coming out? Please do it ASAP. So I had to
Yeah.
listen to them and just put a lot of energy into book two first.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I had been chipping away at the novella
Yeah.
bit by bit over the last year. And so I thought, oh, it's been a while. I promised this ages ago. So I wanted to release part one, so the first half of what I had done. So it's just four chapters, but I think it gives a good little taste of the world that Midnight Gate is set in, the
Mm.
land of Veligrad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which in Serbian, actually, the word Veligrad comes from two words. Veliki means big, and grad means like town or city. So
Yeah.
it kind of means big land or big
Big
city.
land.
Just a
That's
little
so
fun
cool.
fact for you there.
I really like how you explained about like how there was more that you wanted to explore with the novella and going off the back of your debut novel because yeah, it was a big process to get it out. But the fact that you still wanted to give something to the people that love your work is incredibly admirable. And we are all so thankful that you've decided to do this because it's hectic. It's hectic work being self-published. So I'm in awe that you were able to do that and you decided to do that because that is incredible. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. That's so lovely. And I do feel a bit bad because it is kind of left on not quite a cliffhanger, but on a bit of a big moment. So I've sort of just left people, hanging two times in a row now. So working
Yeah.
towards those resolutions soon. So I'm
Yeah.
planning, yeah, part two of the novella will be out later this year. So then that novella will be complete, and
Yeah.
then book two will be out early next year.
Oh, wow. That is so exciting. So we have a bit of a timeline that's established. This is
Yeah.
very exciting. Well, you heard it here first, that we get to know what happens in the next edition of not only the novella, but Midnight Gate as well. Because I know that you said, like, oh, I felt bad that I left things on a cliffhanger, or people like, why did you do that? Like, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I kind of like cliffhangers
Yeah.
because it gives you like some time to really think about what's happening next. Like, you don't have all the answers. And yes, it is sometimes nice to tie up certain elements of a story, but the mystery part of it, that just gets me. That gets me
Oh, I'm
excited.
glad.
Yeah.
Perfect reader then.
And I'm sure that probably is the reason why you left things on a cliffhanger because it excites you as well.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
it really does. Like it's like a love-hate thing because it moves you so much when a book is does finish on a cliffhanger. I just feel like I've been punched in the gut. Like you
yeah.
just have so much emotion, and
Yeah.
that's what I love to happen when I'm reading. I want to, be physically or
Yes.
emotionally moved.
And you did that.
So,
I felt
oh,
that. Definitely felt
oh,
moved. And I was like, yeah, the cliffhanger was powerful. But I still did feel like there was a little bit of completeness in some ways. But, overall there was a sense of like, okay, so I am really dying to know what's happened here. And my heart's been ripped out because I'm not going to get into why. You got to read it if you haven't read it. But the people that know will know that, yeah, you did such a amazing job of ripping the hearts out of all of us. You want
broken
to be
hearts.
moved. Exactly what you said. You want to be moved. So I should probably get into maybe asking you some personal questions. I would love to know a bit more about yourself and perhaps your background and where you grew up, if you can give us an insight into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm Serbian from Croatia. So, in the 90s, there was the breakup of Yugoslavia. And so I came to Australia as a refugee when I was 4 years old with my family. And I've
Mm.
lived in Melbourne ever since. Yeah, that is why I sort of mentioned the Serbian words in the Veligrad, the land that this
Yeah.
occurs, because yeah, obviously my background's Serbian, and I'm grown up speaking Serbian at home, and just being exposed to sort of like the Slavic. Like folklore and fairy tales and things like that through stories that my parents would tell me. And then obviously I've just loved reading books so much throughout my
Yeah.
childhood, adulthood, always read fantasy. And then maybe about 10 years ago, started getting into romance and romantasy as well. And yeah, that's where I realized, hey, this is my genre. And I've got all these ideas exploding out of my head from, when I read and then go take myself on little tangents and think of little scenarios that could have happened from the worlds that I'm reading in, and then realizing, hey, I'd actually like to put this on paper or and write a story out of it and see what happens.
Yeah.
So
Get it
that's
out
sort
of
of
your head. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, I love that. I think that's so interesting. And your story is so unique about the cultural links that you have, because I'm sure there was like perhaps this kind of living in Australia. Yes, you came when you were quite young, but it was still obviously such a big cultural difference to what your early childhood was like, but also for your parents as well. So the fact that you have honored your culture in the writing that you've put out and the themes that you've talked about is amazing, and it's super unique. And I think personally, I haven't read anything quite like it before. And we gotta get some more Slavic fantasy romantasy books out there. So you're a bit of a trailblazer with that, I will
Oh,
say. Yeah, it's
oh,
super
well,
interesting.
thanks so much for saying that. That's really lovely. I really liked The Witcher for
Mm-hmm.
incorporating Slavic yeah, folk
Folklore
lore.
and stuff.
So I feel like
Yeah.
that is something sort of that I look to be like, hey, the people, might like this or might like to hear something that's a little bit
Absolutely.
different, and
They
yeah,
do.
incorporating
Yeah,
some of those that mythology and legends and
absolutely.
stories and things. So
And
yeah.
it's important to keep it sort of like, of course, it is alive and well, but people want to hear more about it. I think that there is a space where I do say, and I think I had this conversation with one of the other authors that I've had on the show, where it feels like when it comes to when it comes to fantasy, it does feel like a lot of the traditional books kind of follow themes that are taken from like maybe the Western European sort of like aesthetics and vibes and stuff when it comes to fantasy. Not all, and of course it's rich in like lots of information and references there. So when fantasy comes from a different sort of like aesthetic and folklore that is, yeah, Eastern European, Slavic, that is something that's so interesting and so unique. And it's also very personal to you as well, I can imagine. Yeah. Was your family in particular, like your parents, really excited about the fact that you were writing something that was close to their, yeah, cultural lineage and
Yeah.
things like that?
Yeah, they were. I think they were really excited, especially because in Melbourne there is a Serbian community, but it's not huge.
Mm.
And just living here, it- it's interesting thinking about cultural identity because I see myself as both Australian and Serbian, but I'm not. Oh, how do I put this? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's hard to sort of know where you sit. Are
Yeah.
you both? Are you one or the other? But and I say that because I've lived here for so long. Like my connection to Serbian culture has certainly diminished. Like
Yeah.
my when I speak, I'm not very as fluent anymore when I speak Serbian language, and I'm not connected to the contemporary events that are happening there now and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
But at the same time, it is part of my roots and my background. And so, yeah, my family was really happy to see, like, hey, I still have that connection and that
Yeah.
willingness to want to feel that connection to my culture. And like, my mum has heaps of books at home, like in Serbian and Croatian language. Sorry, I should say Serbo-Croatian language because it's
Yeah.
technically the same language.
Yeah.
And she was really excited to help me do a bit of research when I was writing
Ah.
Midnight Gate. So she pulled out important books that had some like history on some Serbian myths and things like that. So yeah, it was really lovely to to sort of approach my parents and say, hey, I want to write a book that incorporates elements of our culture and for them to sort of have a bit of a contribution to that. But I will say though, like I'll say it's Slavic inspired with a twist because it's not like true to any particular story. I've just
Hmm.
sort of taken certain creatures, certain elements of culture, and pop them together into a an original story. So it's not
Yeah.
a retelling or
Yeah,
strict.
retelling. Yep, yeah, and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Mm.
that is so interesting that you say that because I think that also, like, a retelling is also probably another great way that you could have approached this
Mm.
story, but it again elevates your creativity and your writing ability. The fact that you're able to take all these other elements and make it your own. Heck, maybe one day this might be a Slavic folklore book that gets passed
Oh
down
gosh,
to generations and things like
yeah.
that because it's amazing. And I think in particularly in Australia there are lots of people that have dual cultural identities, and the
Mm.
more we talk about it and the more we explore it, I think the more important it will be to talk about these themes, and talking about these themes through art and particularly with yourself writing is probably one of the best ways to get back into connection with the cultural lineage unique to yourself. So,
Oh well,
yeah.
thanks for putting it that way as well as that. That's yeah, a really
Oh, of
lovely thing to
course.
say. So thanks, Monica.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. And I'm curious actually. This might be something that may have crossed your mind, but I wonder whether you've ever thought about releasing Midnight Gate or any of your books in the Serbian, is it Serbian Croatian language?
Yeah, you can say
Yeah.
Serbian or Croatian or
Yeah.
Serbo-Croatian.
What about like translating it or something like that? But it'll probably be a lot of work. So, Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it would be really cool. Yeah, it's something that I've considered, but just coming from an indie author mindset, I've also
Yeah.
thought, oh, is there with the time and
Yeah.
probably costs that would be involved to do that? How big is the market in
Yep.
that region? I don't have a lot of knowledge on that, but
Sure.
it is something that like yeah, would be a cool thing to do for sure
Yeah.
because of like you said that cultural
Yeah.
connection. But yeah, it's yeah, translations are definitely on my mind. But
Mm.
yeah, it's
Very
just again
interesting.
another thing of the indie
Oh.
author life and
Add that
all
to
the
the
things.
list of things to do of
Yeah,
all the marketing and all that stuff. No, totally.
exactly.
Ooh, I'm wondering if you'll be able to tell us what a day in Sanya's life looks like, or maybe a week in regards to your writing and marketing and indie author life process.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like many of us, I have a day job, so
Yes.
that's yeah, that's so the Monday to Thursday life when I work is a bit different to the Friday to Sunday life. So,
Yeah.
Monday to Thursday, I'll do my job, and then I'll do a bit of yoga after that, just to move the body and clear the mind a bit. And then, yeah, most nights we'll get into writing if I'm not too tired. So I'll usually do about an hour or so. Then Friday to Sundays when I get to live my best author life because
Yes.
that's when I yeah, spend pretty much the whole time writing. I try not to, and in terms of marketing and yeah, just
Yeah.
in deal with the business side of things, I try not to answer emails first thing in the morning because I
Hmm.
feel like that's when you have the most sort of clarity and energy. So I'll try and write first for a
Yeah.
couple of hours and save the admin side to later on in the afternoon because
Yeah.
I found out quickly that if you start with business, then
Oh.
there's, like you sort of said before, there's always something to add to the list. There's
Yeah.
always something to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I found that my, yeah, writing hours significantly decreased later on in the day. But yeah, I'll try and before I start writing, I usually do some yoga
Nice.
because yeah, I just feel like getting it, doing a bit of that meditative exercise really helps get the creative flow sort of started.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's, yeah, an important part of my writing practice for sure, because we're obviously
Mm.
sitting down for so long when we do write.
Yep.
And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Spend quality time with loved ones and do other exercise as well and eat food.
Yeah.
And luckily I've got
Nice.
a wonderful Italian husband who
Oh,
makes me
the
delicious pasta all the
food.
time. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So he's the chef of the family with you
He
too?
is, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, finding balance is hard when you have
Yeah.
a day job as well. It
Yep.
would be lovely to just be able to write full time and see see how much space there is in the day for more rest. That's certainly something that that
Yeah.
I'm mindful of and trying to get better at.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you there. I find that the balance is, just speaking candidly, I find the balance quite difficult. And
Mm,
I used to be able to do it a lot better, I felt, when perhaps things weren't as busy in the sense of
mm,
when my book was Still Waters Run Deep hadn't released yet and I
yeah.
was working in the background of other things. But as soon as then the rollout started to happen and the business stuff really started to occupy a lot of my mind, I was like, okay, so the balance part of it has just gone off the rails here.
Yes.
So I'm really impressed that you have been able to pinpoint areas of your mindset where you go, no, I cannot do the business stuff at this time. I got to dedicate time for this because if I don't do that, then the creative flow might be blocked and that kind of stuff. So I find that really interesting and inspiring too.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, yeah, it took couple of months of as you sort of say around release, so pre-release, just trying to have everything organized and organize the book launch and everything like that, it just ate away
Mm,
so much time. And
yeah,
I realized I lost like weeks and weeks worth of writing
writing.
just because I mean there was stuff to do, but yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think it's like it's totally acceptable to prioritize in certain parts of the
Mm, mm,
schedule. You've got things like the book launch coming up, and then
mm,
the not just even the event, but even the just the book coming out. There's
mm,
a lot
mm.
of stuff that takes precedence. So it's like, well, how can we can't really do everything at the same time. Like sometimes
Yeah.
the writing will be that writing time will be prioritized more, and then other times it will be the marketing because it makes sense to do
Mm,
that. Like it's just so hard to be able to do both. So going back to
mm.
the little conversation we had about grace just before we started chatting, I think we do
Yes.
have to give ourselves a bit of grace to
Yes.
also remember that we are like one people shows here.
Mm,
We're
mm.
doing everything and we're working full time. Well, yeah, like working other jobs on top of this. This is kind of like it is a serious hobby, but it's still something that we have to be mindful. It's
And
nice.
another
Yeah,
sort of, I don't know if this is a random strategy, but
yeah,
I do like strategic naps where
yep,
if I'm feeling a bit tired, but I still, want to sort of flesh something out plot wise or dialogue wise or whatever,
yeah,
I'll go and have a nap and sort of I'll maybe put on a little mindfulness podcast or something like that. And
yeah.
when I'm in that state of half awake, half asleep, that's when so many solutions sort of happen. So that's my little
Yep.
plotting hack. It's just to have a little nap and then the answers come to me.
Wow, that is awesome. I've never heard of that. That's so cool. But it's so true because like when we're just about to sleep, I feel like that's when the thoughts kind of happen or like first thing in the morning when you're just kind of like waking up and being like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's something that will work." So, I love that. Strategic naps. I love a nap. But I feel like mine can't be strategic because I will go over time with my naps.
Yeah.
Wake up in another universe and be like, oh
Yeah.
God, okay, forget about that. That's just, the day's gone. Alrighty, so I should get into the next question that I have for you, which is what you find maybe the most enjoyable part of writing versus what's something that is probably you would consider the hardest part of writing. So, what's your perspective on
Yeah.
that?
I think the most enjoyable part is just how good it feels to write, if that makes sense. Like it
Yep.
just feels like it's almost like the same feeling as if you like go for a run and then you get all those good chemicals after.
Hi.
You're like, oh, I feel good. It's similar to that. It feels cathartic. It feels just
It's like
like
itching
fun.
the brain
Um,
or like, I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
fun.
Like I just love being in that state of creative flow. It's yeah, just a good place to be for me. And
Yeah,
yeah, just have genuine enjoyment in the act of writing. So when
I
I
love that.
know it's maybe a bit controversial to bring in AI into the
Yeah,
conversation,
yeah,
but
absolutely. Talk
yeah.
about it.
My personal stance is that I do not use it in any form because it's the process that I love. Like writing can be really hard, but like there's something right in here that just wants to
Mm,
let
mm,
let flow and come out.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my sort of most enjoyable
Mm,
bit. And
yeah.
then yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking about the act of writing as well, with like how it feels so good to perhaps like get it out there. And first of all,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm the same with you when it comes to generative AI, where honestly you can tell when something is AI generated, not just with images, because as a graphic designer, I can
Mhm.
tell it, straight away.
Mhm.
And a lot of people can. A lot of people can. You
Mhm.
don't have to
Mhm.
be someone in the arts and all that stuff to tell. When it comes to writing too, I feel like you just know when something is generated by AI. It's like off. And I can't tell you exactly
Mhm.
what it is,
Yeah.
besides maybe like how like there's all those is it N dashes and whatever that like
Oh,
I
okay. Yeah,
put out there.
yeah.
But I just feel that any time that I've looked at it or when I see someone else, because sometimes at work there'll be some copywriting examples where people will do some trialing with AI to generate certain things. It doesn't make it to the final cut, but every single iteration of whatever gets spewed out by ChatGPT just reads inauthentic
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Off-putting. I can't
Yeah.
describe it any other way.
Yeah.
Like it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because like it is hard to like put your finger on it, but you can feel it. And I
Mm.
wonder if it is because each author has, even if you know you're writing in a genre that's very how do you say it? That
It's your voice kind of thing.
yeah, I was
Or
about to say, yeah,
yeah.
even if you're
Yeah.
writing something that's got a structure that's not formulaic, but is
Yeah.
like there's been a lot of very similar books in the past. It's the
Yeah, like
voice, like
patterns and
every
things. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
even so, like, and that's
Yeah.
why, you know, people do retellings of fairy tales and mythologies and things like that,
Yeah.
because even though it's the same story, it's someone's unique voice and yeah, just that a part of them is in it.
Yeah.
And you can feel that. And
Yeah.
that's why you read, like you want to be pulled into something and connected with something.
Yeah.
The
Like the
part of a
story.
read reading. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The story is one part of it, which, yes, okay, stories can be created using AI, I guess. Like, I'm not going to advocate for that.
Mm,
But,
mm,
if what AI can generate is words and stories and things like that. But there is the human tone that is lacking.
mm,
And I hope it never gets that. And I don't know whether it will. I mean, look,
mm.
just saying it here first, like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
manifesting that it never
yeah.
replaces the human voice, if that
Mm,
can even
mm. Yeah.
describe like what it is, because I just feel like even like another example is like with I don't know whether you use like a social media planning website to plan your posts or something like that for Instagram.
Mm,
Well, I do and I use Plan, and Plan
mm,
has this function that can give you AI generated captions. So one time I thought, let's just see what happens if I use it. And I didn't post it, but I was like, okay, out of
mm,
curiosity, what would it do? And honestly, it was the most like it off sounding like way to write a caption. And I thought, you know what? I don't think why I understand that Instagram is a business tool for marketing and products and things like that, but I feel like captions are really authentic too, and they really
mm.
show the voice there. Like you are the
Yeah.
author, you're writing your captions, all that stuff. Don't get AI to write your captions because
Mm,
it won't hit the mark, and it sounds
mm,
so off. And it's a perfect opportunity to also be an extension of your like your writer self to write
mm,
your own caption about whatever
mm.
you're putting in there. So
Mm.
that was another clear example. I was like, this is so crap. Don't ever, ever,
Yeah,
ever
yeah, yeah.
use like AI to write your captions in
Mm.
particular,
Yeah,
let
yeah.
alone your books.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's another story. But no, I don't think it's controversial to say you're
Yeah.
against AI or anything like
Yeah.
that because I think majority of people in the arts are.
Mm, hmm.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, going back to perhaps your thoughts around the hardest part of writing, what do you think that is
Yeah.
for yourself?
Yeah, I think what's become the hardest part is trying to write and publish books within a certain time frame where readers have expectations. And I even felt that in writing Midnight Gate because I saw that romantasy was suddenly becoming very popular, and I feared that if I didn't write as fast as I could and publish as soon as I could, then my voice might be lost in the many books that are out there. I'm sure that that's not the case. It was
No.
probably my own pressure because there's
Yes. I can tell you now, yes.
readers, yeah.
But
And
yeah.
also readers love to read and they don't stop reading. Like there's no like limit to how many books should be out there. And yeah, just to say that it's not like a limited thing. There's an abundance in
Yes, there is.
putting it out there and finding the right readers.
Yep.
If I can use that sort of language.
Yep,
But
for sure.
yeah, I still feel like yeah, it's tricky to try and keep space for creative flow and creative thinking, which takes time to percolate sometimes. And,
Hmm.
you know, you'll write a book and then you'll redraft it and redraft again and
Yeah.
change scenes again. And I think that process is really important, that fine tuning and that getting to know your story on a really deep level so that you can you know, give the best po possible version to readers as you can. But yeah, having a day job along with trying to keep book releases to a reasonable schedule of reader expectations, I do feel that pressure and I do feel that sort of cramping the
Mm.
creative flow sometimes, which I don't know, I've used that term so many times, so you know it's
But it's
important.
accurate.
But
Yeah. Mm.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm finding challenging.
Yeah, that's so challenging. And I feel the same. I
Yeah,
think that that is
yeah.
exactly how I feel about
Mm,
the timeline process or the whether I meet deadlines. How do I put this? I don't want to
mm,
compromise meeting a deadline at the sake of the quality and the
yeah,
story.
yeah.
And that is, yeah, one of the hardest parts that I feel as well for you. You're not
Mm,
alone.
mm. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not alone with that. Oh, it's so hard to make
Mm,
sure that you feel. I think it is an internal fear that if I
mm,
call it a fear, I mean that sounds very dramatic, but it's probably like an
mm,
internal dialogue that we have where we
mm,
think about marketing and we think about the fast-paced world that we live in, where we feel that the best way to quote unquote be successful with our writing is to make sure we're giving people what they want, but also being active on social media spaces,
mm,
but
mm.
also making sure we're putting out good quality products, writing, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it
yeah,
doesn't even feel right to call it a product,
yeah.
really. But how crazy is that that's such a big expectation on one
Mm,
person, which is
yeah.
us, the indie authors? It's crazy. So I would
Mm,
advocate that you take as much time as you need to write and edit and create and be creative and in that space as you need, because the people that are excited for your book will be excited whenever it comes out. I
mm,
guarantee that.
mm.
I will.
Thank you.
I'll be patient.
I will take on that advice and that permission. So thank you. That's helpful.
You are the artist, you are the creator, and you've got to dictate what's best for your creative process. So, whenever it comes out, it comes out. And just going on another tangent here, I'm
Mhm.
curious to ask you, have you always loved writing, even when you were a child as well? Like, reading was one thing, but writing as well, was that a big passion for you?
Yeah, I think it came in bursts because I feel like even as a child I was aware like, oh, this isn't good enough. Like my writing,
Mm.
like I enjoyed doing it, but then I'd read books that I really liked and I was like, oh well, this isn't good enough and I don't know how to get it to there because obviously I was a little kid
You
and
were a
I
child. You were a child, Sonia. Oh my God.
bit harsh on myself there.
Yeah, but that
But
feeling of like, oh my God,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
ow.
so I never thought like about it being a career. Like I just didn't know anything about an author career, like that was a thing. I didn't know how people became authors. Like I just
Yeah.
didn't have you know, transparency into what that pathway looked like. So I never considered it something that I should be focusing on. But when I did do creative writing, like in school, when we
Mm.
have opportunities to do that, I remember like loving it.
Loving it. Mm.
Yeah, and like I you know I there was a short story competition at my high school, and I remember winning that when I was in year nine and
Wow.
10,
Yeah.
and I like getting like really, really excited. But then again,
God.
but like reading other books and being like, oh, this isn't good
Mm,
enough, so I won't focus on that. So it
yeah.
wasn't until a few years ago that I don't know. It was pretty much a light bulb moment where I was like, hang on, I actually remembered that I'd won this writing competition. And then I remembered, oh, I used to really have a lot of enjoyment in writing. I've got all these ideas in my head. So yeah, that's sort of where it just exploded from. And then yes, I started writing on my laptop and then haven't stopped since. So
Wow.
yeah, kind of how it came to be.
You have aligned with your soul purpose, I
Mm,
feel.
mm.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, Monica. There's n never been anything in my life that I've truly felt so passionate about and actually believed in myself about. Like
Mm.
we're all good at certain things, not as good as other things.
Hmm.
But it's the first time in my life where I've felt, as you say, that word alignment,
Yeah.
that like, oh my God, this feels good. I enjoy it and I want to keep doing it and never stop.
Yeah, I hope that you keep doing it and never stop. And I don't think you will stop because it really does come across in your writing. And look, I'm not an expert, I'm not a literary expert. I just love chatting to other authors and creatives because I really appreciate hearing people talk about their alignment with their need to be creative and needing to scratch that metaphorical itch of
Mm.
getting the stories out there. But reading Midnight Gate, I really felt like there was such a passion, not only for the stories of the folklore and the Slavic folklore with that, but it just like I could just feel that it was such a deep burning passion for you to write it and write how you wanted to write and tell this story. And that was one of the most exciting parts about reading Midnight Gate was not only the story was fantastic as well, but how it was written was incredible for a debut author as well. Like,
That's very kind,
bow down
Monica.
to
Thank
you.
you. Oh,
Honestly,
that's
it's the
really lovely.
truth.
Thank
I haven't read any book quite like it, but my
you.
vibe was like, this is just so exciting because it's just
Oh,
so like, yeah, it's a bit witchy as well. It's a bit like spooky, but yeah, no, I really appreciate you saying that and aligning with like that soul purpose. I should probably get more into Midnight Gate and the process of that because I'm dying to know how long it took you to write Midnight Gate. Because from my perspective, it seems like it was a story that was something that took a bit of time to get out. But you tell me what that was like
yeah.
for
So
you.
I originally started writing around the start of 2023. A sort of more of a stricter Slavic inspired fantasy story where I was doing a lot of research and trying to get things really accurate as though it was a story set, in medieval times, but in like an Eastern European setting. But it was very time consuming and it felt a little bit restricting because I'd get other ideas and then want to incorporate that, but then I feel like, oh no, but then, it won't be accurate. So
Mm,
I spent probably 6 to 8 months writing that, I think. And then I just suddenly had another sort of light bulb moment where I was like, hang on, why don't I just like write whatever I want, incorporate the elements I like? And then as soon as I did that, the story just like flowed, like the plot just like came out, put it
yeah.
onto, a rough outline. And then it took about 8 months from start to finish, like to the point where it was like pretty much good to go. And then I went to editing. And then when I got it back from editing, I still did a bit more tinkering because in that time of, they always say, like put your story away, like for, don't
Yes.
look at it for like a month. And I wish I had the time. I'm sure we all wish we had the time to do that sort of thing more often because during that time I did think, oh, I should change that and do this. And I did make a couple of tweaks, but tried not to do too much because obviously it had already been edited.
Wow.
So I'd say it was about 12 months until
Yep.
from start to finish to putting it down and not touching it again.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
amazing. Like 12
Yeah.
months is solid, and I think it's actually
Yeah.
quite a really good time to get it
Yeah.
sorted.
It definitely felt fast, and I feel
Yeah.
like I could have used like another year or two to,
Oh, we could all
do
say
more,
that.
but yeah.
Yeah, we could keep going, we could keep
Yeah.
changing, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's
Yeah.
just better to just put it out there
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it worked. So,
Yeah.
you know what?
Oh,
Save those ideas for the future stuff. Yeah.
true. Yeah.
And so
Oh,
when we were talking about the sequel being released sometime next year, so
mhm.
you have already started writing your sequel, I'm assuming. Are you
Yeah,
up
that's
to the
right.
editing stage of the sequel?
Not yet. So
Mhm.
yeah, still going with that, and
Mm.
then it'll be editing later on this year.
Yeah, that's
So
exciting.
hopefully I have it, yeah, all done before then, and I don't touch it again after editing.
Whatever you need to do, it will be best for you and it'll be best for us because that is so exciting that so are you like how far along in your in the story do you think are you to maybe completing your first, I
Yeah,
guess, draft of
yeah.
book two?
I've for this one, I did a lot. I spent a lot of time plotting, like
Yep.
weeks and weeks, like just literally just sitting like this
Yeah.
at the laptop. I've got an Excel spreadsheet with all the like plot points and chapters and everything, like very, very detailed. So I actually spent a lot of time doing that before setting down to write. So right now I'm about I'd say about 40% through the first
Wow.
draft, or not the first draft actually, because I've actually stopped and started a few times.
Yeah.
But I feel like it feels like this 40% feels more like 60 to 70% just because I clearly
Yes.
know where it's going this time
That's
around. Yeah.
awesome. That is
Yeah.
that's so inspiring as well because
Oh,
I think I need to do that for my current
oh,
manuscript that I'm writing because I'm being such a pantser and I know that's who I am and I know I
yeah.
enjoy that process, but
Yeah.
I think I'm getting to the point where I need to really stop and see how I'm going to get to my end goal, which is where I need to. But
Mhm.
this isn't book two of Still Waters Run Deep. This is
Right. Okay.
the um backstory of
Okay.
the evil character in Still Waters Run
Mm,
Deep that's coming out
I
next
love
month.
that.
So
Love a
yes.
villain origin
Oh
story. So
yeah, so it's
yeah.
definitely a villain origin story, but
Oh,
you know, she's complex. So I
oh,
love writing about that kind of stuff as well. So
so good. I love reading about
yes.
that, so I can't wait to read about.
Oh, yes, it will be good to see. I'll love to get your opinion about it when I finally get onto finishing that because yeah, it takes me a long time, but that's okay. I embrace it
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna rush anything with all that, and
Yeah.
I know that you will be the same and you will follow your path in however long it takes to get it done. But yeah, I love how you have outlined things and you're so detailed about making sure that things are like you're meeting your marks and hitting the plot points, making sure things are consistent. And so, do you have some alpha readers and beta readers that help you with making sure that your plots all make sense and things like that? Maybe that's for book one in
Yeah.
particular, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have a group of lovely writing friends who do a very kind beta read where last year I was so short on time I only gave them 2 weeks for
Wow!
like and they
No, dear.
were very, very helpful in reading, smashing out some feedback in that time. So I'm
Awesome.
very grateful to the Saturday writing crew who will know
Amazing.
who they are.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and then also through editing, I do a professional beta read, so have an editor to give the full report of feedback. So yeah.
Oh, amazing. I think that's such an important thing that you do to also bring in the community, the writing community into your stuff as well. And that's something that I'd love to explore more with my stuff because, yeah, I think that when I was coming into it with Still Waters Run Deep, I probably missed out on getting beta readers and stuff to do a bit of a read into that, probably because it took so long to even get out there. And by the time it was out there, but that's another story. I'm going to make
Mm.
sure I get some beta readers for my future stuff.
Oh,
And
cool.
so when it comes to Midnight Gate, I'm actually curious to know if it's going to be a duology or is it going to be a trilogy or are there further books in the series that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so I'm definitely planning for there to be at least three, most likely four. But yeah, the story won't end at the second one.
Yeah,
Uh,
cool. I really like to hear that because I can
yeah.
see that there's so much that we can explore, especially with
Mm,
the witchy elements and also with all the different gates. And I'm
mm,
conscious that I don't want to like spoil anything away. I wonder if
mm,
I've got my book, your copy of Midnight. Oh yes, thank
mm.
you with that. I wanted to quickly. This was the copy that I got from you when I went to the
Oh,
wonderful book launch that. I will also put a link to in the description of this episode to the write up that I did about your book event because it was spectacular. It was
oh, very kind.
amazing. You set the bar so high for what is, and not like crazy, sort of like unattainable for people to do. You did everything so well and so right. And it was, I know I went into it in the article that I wrote, but it was so welcoming and friendly and just
Oh,
fun. So that's what I always
thank
remember when I
you.
picked up my copy of Midnight
Oh,
Gate. But I wanted to just open to the map because you know me, I
yeah.
love map. With the Serbian meaning of the map as well. Oh, sorry, not the map. Veligrad. It
Mm.
means so was it big city? Big
Yeah, yeah, that's
town?
kind of a
Yeah.
rough translation. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
so much that we could explore with all these different areas and all the gates that I'm
yeah,
hoping and I can anticipate there will be some more explanation into different gates and things like that in potentially all four books in this series. So I'm guessing that's what
yeah.
you're thinking of as well. Maybe to go
That's
different
right. Yeah, yeah. No, I sort of was happy to set it up with seven gates in case I really did want to keep going if the characters' stories, and other side characters and things like that, if I felt strongly like they needed to be told some more as well. So yeah, that's right. Like the next in the series will all be called something gate. So
Oh,
yeah, it is very
yes.
much about each sort
Each
of
gate.
town or city. Yeah.
Oh, that's such, well, thank you for that
Yeah.
bit of an update and what we can expect for the next couple of books because yeah, I'm curious about what the next book is going to be called. So, do you have an idea maybe, and this is probably going way, way, way into the future, do you have an idea about what the cover might look like or maybe a color scheme?
Yeah, so that's it. That's in the works at the moment. So the cover designer is engaged for next month. So all of that shall be revealed soon. So
Oh my
I'm sort of happy. Yeah, I've got some sort of general sense of keeping it with the theme of
Yep,
what the
it's
book
already
already
there.
looks like. Yeah, but yeah, potentially changing the background to like a reddy or an orangey and
Yeah.
just having a few different elements on there. So yeah, there's some ideas in the works, but I'm really happy with the designer that I've got engaged, and I'm sort of happy to let them do what feels right and just what fits in line with this one as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that that would be an amazing, amazing idea to continue on with the theme that with the
Mm.
designer that you've got for this cover. Incredible. Well, I should probably start to wrap this up.
We've just spoken for 5 minutes, and I've looked at the time, and I can't believe it's been this long.
I know. I don't know how I don't know how I do it. That happens to me all the time. I'm like, oh, look at the time. Jeez,
I think it.
okay.
I've worn this shirt. I don't know if it's.
Yap about books. We'll yap about
I
books.
think that's like our motto.
Thank you for acknowledging the yapping part of our lives where it comes
Yeah.
to the books and the writing and all that stuff. Yeah, you and I are the same. Thank you
Yeah.
for wearing that today. Love it.
It's to validate both of us.
Yeah, you've really validated
Yeah.
my life right here.
Good.
But I should ask you one final question about you. Where can people find you on social media, but also for any in-person events that you're attending? Where are you going to be in
Yeah.
this year?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media at
Mhm.
skstapper.author, and I put all the updates on there on Instagram and TikTok, as well as to my newsletter subscribers, which you can sign up to from my website skstapper.com, and where you can get that free part one of that free novella that we were talking about.
Get the
And
novella.
then, yeah, there's a few in-person events this year. So in June, Monica and I together are attending a, yeah, lovely book signing at Novel Nook in Yarra Glen,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful bookshop in Victoria, in the Yarra Ranges.
Yes.
Sorry, the Yarra Winery region.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I actually should have written this down. That was the one thing I forgot to
Oh,
do.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Unless I can pull it up on your Instagram if you posted about where you're
Oh, thank
going.
you.
But I'll
Oh,
have a
gosh,
quick
no.
look.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So in August, we've got the Indie Bookworm event, which is in Melbourne at the, I don't know where it is. Actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
That's all
it
right.
is in
People can look it up.
Melbourne.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's
That's cool.
yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
an
That one.
indie author book signing event on the 23rd of August. And
Yes.
then
That bookworm event.
and again, I'm gonna have to look it
That's all
up.
good. That's all good. You're busy.
Sorry
Lots
for
of
all the
different things.
work in editing that you're gonna
No,
have to
it's all
do.
totally fine.
Oh, thanks. And then in October, there is the October 18th, the Sweet Love Book Fair, which I think you're going to
Yep.
as well. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. Yeah, I know that my stuff isn't romantasy and all that stuff, but I'm just happy to be there. I'm just happy
Oh,
to be
still.
there and
Yeah,
I'll
no,
just be like,
everyone loves fantasy. Yeah.
yeah, a bit of romance in there, but more so for your stuff will be very relevant to see. And I can't
Oh.
wait to see all the other romance and romantasy authors there for Sweet Love in. It's on the 18th of October, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm, hmm.
So yeah, any more that you're doing this year or next year, perhaps? Only
So
two
that's
more.
all for this year, and then next year
Mm.
I'll be at the A Thousand Lives Indie Author Book
Yep.
Convention, which is yeah in April 2026. So that will be pretty big, I think. And are you going to that one as
I
well?
don't think I
Okay.
am. I don't think that's on my list, but I could probably just attend. I might
Yeah,
just
cool,
attend.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, good
yeah, yeah.
times.
I think I
Yeah.
might have a look at that. So, yes,
Yeah.
that is super exciting that you've got a lot coming
Yeah.
up and the
It really
release of your
was.
book two of the Midnight Gate series coming out as well. So, wow. Thank you so much, Sanya, for talking about everything that we have got into today. Your writing process, how you feel like you're aligned with your sole purpose of writing and acknowledging that part of you that is so, I guess, important to your livelihood of writing, and for talking about your experiences with your cultural heritage and bringing that to life in your writing. So, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today.
Thank you, Monica. Love chatting with you as always, and can chat for so long
I know
together. But
we chat for so long.
But yeah, thank you. It's been so lovely to speak to
Oh,
you,
my
to be on your
pleasure.
podcast. It's so cool.
Oh, thank you for saying yes to being a part of it.
Oh,
So we'll have to do this again sometime soon and do another podcast episode in the future when book two is released.